Attention passionate Montreal, Canadiens fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the Atlantic Division and it could shake up the entire conference. We're talking about a direct impact on Montreal Canadiens' path to another Stanley Cup run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Montreal Canadiens fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Montreal Canadiens fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying attention to the NHL landscape lately, you've probably noticed that the Montreal Canadiens are not just sitting back and watching. No, sir. They've been incredibly active in this offseason, making moves that signal they're serious about contending again soon. And trust me, there's a lot to unpack here, because what's happening right now could completely redefine the team's trajectory in the coming seasons. The Canadiens, who last season were the youngest team in the entire league to make the playoffs, are clearly aiming higher. They're not just rebooting, they're building, reshaping, and positioning themselves for a real push towards Stanley Cup contention. Over the past few weeks, Montreal has already pulled off two significant trades that caught everyone's attention. First, they acquired Noah Dobson, a talented defenseman with a lot of upside from the New York Islanders. Dobson is a player who can anchor the blue line for years to come, bringing size, skill, and a good offensive punch from the backend. Then, they added Zachary Bolduc from the St. Louis Blues. Bolduc, a promising young forward, had a breakout season last year with 19 goals and 17 assists in 72 games, showing that he's got the scoring touch and the physicality that the Canadiens desperately want in their forward group. These moves, especially when combined with the team's young core, signal Montreal's clear intent. They're not just rebuilding, they're reloading. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Rumors and insider reports suggest that Montreal isn't done yet. No, they're still exploring options, and one of the most talked about subjects right now involves a young, talented winger named Joshua Roy. Roy, just 21 years old, is a player who embodies the future of this team. Born in Quebec, raised as a Canadiens fan, and drafted in the 5th round of the 2021 NHL draft, he's a player with a lot of promise. He's shown flashes of speed and grit in his limited NHL appearances, 6 goals and 5 assists in 35 games, with a total of 11 points. But he doesn't have a fixed role yet, and that's causing some friction in the front office. According to insider Anthony Marcotte, who spoke on BPM Sports, the mood around Roy's future in Montreal has shifted. Marcotte suggests that the team's management, particularly the front office led by General Manager Kent Hughes, is leaning toward possibly moving Roy. And honestly, that's not really a shocker when you look at the bigger picture. Montreal's roster is crowded, and with a team that's trying to load up on veteran talent and experience, the young winger might be viewed as a trade chip. Marcotte hints that Roy's future in Montreal looks less and less promising, and that he's likely on the market for the right deal. Now, why would Montreal consider trading a player like Roy? Well, it's all about the team's current needs and future plans. Roy is a good third or fourth line forward, bringing speed, physicality, and energy. But with the team's depth at forward and their focus on competing immediately, they might prefer to trade Roy for a mid-round pick, perhaps a second or third-round selection. That could help them shore up other areas of the roster. It's all about strategic moves, especially when the team is trying to balance between developing their prospects and adding experienced veterans to push for a playoff run. And let's not forget, Roy is still on his entry-level contract, which makes him an attractive trade asset. He's in the final year of that 3-year deal, and teams looking for cheap, young talent might see him as a valuable piece to add to their lineup. His NHL stats might not blow anyone away yet, just 6 goals and 5 assists in 35 games, but he's got the potential, and for a team in contention, that's often what matters most. Meanwhile, Montreal's front office, led by Kent Hughes, is taking a very calculated approach. Hughes has made it clear that his priority is building a team capable of winning the Stanley Cup, not just making the playoffs. He's been open about the fact that this process won't be completed overnight. The team's recent moves, including the trade for Bolduc and Dobson, are part of that bigger plan. Hughes has spoken about the importance of patience and strategic acquisitions, emphasizing that the Canadiens aren't aiming for quick fixes, but for sustained success. In fact, Hughes mentioned in an interview that they're still exploring options to improve the team and that they're open to making more moves during the summer. It's all about building a roster that can compete now, but also has longevity. He acknowledged that they won't be able to accomplish everything in one offseason. That's just not realistic. The team needs to be smart, and sometimes that means making tough decisions, like trading away a promising young player like Roy if it means acquiring a piece that can help them win now. What's especially interesting is that the Canadiens are currently over the salary cap. But, and here's the clever part, they have Carey Price on long-term injured reserve. Price's contract, valued at $10. $5 million, can be placed on LTIR, freeing up cap space that allows Montreal to make additional moves without the usual restrictions. This cap flexibility gives Hughes and his team more room to maneuver, whether it's bringing in a veteran defenseman, a scoring winger, or even making trades that involve draft picks. It's a strategic move that's been employed by many teams in the past to facilitate roster upgrades during the offseason. Speaking of roster moves, perhaps the most intriguing recent acquisition is Zachary Bolduc. Coming from St. Louis, Bolduc is a young player with a lot of potential. He grew up a Canadiens fan, and his excitement about joining Montreal is palpable. In his own words, he described leaving his previous organization as a mix of emotions: bittersweet, because he's leaving behind people he's made strong bonds with, but also incredibly excited to realize his childhood dream of playing for the Canadiens. That kind of passion is exactly what Montreal needs: players who love the team, who are motivated to succeed, and who want to bring that winning attitude back to the Bell Center. Bolduc's last season was impressive, with 19 goals and 17 assists. His size, speed, and scoring ability make him a versatile winger who can fit in many roles. The Canadiens see him as a piece of their future, someone who could develop into a top-six forward, or at least a reliable secondary scorer. His addition, along with the trade for Dobson, indicates that Montreal is not just looking for short-term success, but is also building a foundation for sustained competitiveness. But of course, the offseason is still young, and the rumors are swirling. Some reports suggest that Montreal is receiving inquiries from other teams about their players, but the front office remains cautious. Moving out key players, especially young prospects like Roy, isn't something they're rushing into. They want to ensure that any trade aligns with their long-term vision. And with the cap situation complicated, thanks to Carey Price's LTIR designation, they have some flexibility, but also a responsibility to make smart, strategic decisions. Looking ahead, fans should keep an eye on what Hughes and his team will do next. The summer is still unfolding, and there's every chance we'll see more moves, whether it's trades, signings, or draft day surprises. The Canadiens are clearly aiming to be aggressive, not just in terms of adding talent, but also in shaping their roster to compete at the highest level. The goal remains crystal clear: to bring another Stanley Cup to Montreal, a city that lives and breathes hockey. And I have to say, the energy around the team is infectious. The fans are hungry for success, and with these moves, the Canadiens are signaling that they're serious about returning to the top. The young core, combined with smart veteran additions, could make Montreal a team to watch in the coming seasons. And let's not forget, the team's history of resilience, of fighting back from tough times, is what makes this franchise so special. This offseason might just be the start of a new chapter, one filled with hope, ambition, and a relentless drive to bring the glory back to the beloved Canadiens. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Montreal Canadiens news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. So in summary, what we're seeing right now is a Montreal Canadiens team that is actively reshaping itself for success. They're making smart trades, exploring new options, and building a roster that balances youth and experience. The potential trade of Joshua Roy is just one piece of this puzzle, and it highlights how strategic Hughes and his team are being in their approach. They're not just chasing short-term gains, they're laying the groundwork for a future where the Canadiens are once again contenders for the Stanley Cup, a team that can battle through the playoffs and bring that coveted trophy back to the city of Montreal. And as fans, this is what we've been waiting for: an organization that's committed to excellence, that's willing to make tough decisions, and that truly believes in the talent and passion of its players. If these moves work out, Montreal could be on the cusp of something special. The excitement is real, the future looks promising, and the team's ambition is undeniable. So stay tuned because the offseason is just getting started and there's plenty more to come. The Canadiens are not just rebuilding, they're reloading, rearming, and ready to make a statement. This is a team with a purpose, a team with a plan, and a fan base that's more energized than ever. Montreal hockey is back, and it's roaring louder than ever.